Hello and good day, eh? Welcome to the Super Good Camping Podcast. My name is Pamela.
I'm Thomas.
I'm Tim.
And we're from supergoodcamping.com. We're here because we're on a mission to inspire other families to enjoy camping adventures such as we have with our kids. Today we're going to talk a little bit about what an initial day or first day at backcountry camping looks like. So I'll turn it over to Tim.
Okay, so the first, I don't even know where to start sometimes. The most important thing is to go back and make sure that you planned your trip well. You have to take in for backcountry camping because you need to be there in daylight. You can't turn on the headlights and use that to set up your tent. You have to do it. You can do it in the dark. It's no fun, I can assure you.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
Oh, paddling in the dark is no fun. My God.
Trying to locate your site in the dark is no fun.
Yeah, where are those lights? Those lights aren't supposed to be there. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Where's
Most
the portage?
things in the dark in backcountry is no fun because the dark is dark.
Really?
And there's no way around that.
Yeah.
And that means everything's difficult.
So initially, when you're planning your backcountry trip, make sure that you do a good job of reading the map, figuring out timelines. If you aren't heavily experienced, the easiest way is Jeff's Maps or Unlostify have sort of timelines for how long it takes to paddle this portion, portage this portion. Look at those, use those as timelines, figure out, give yourself a buffer, man. It's way better if you show up early. For instance, Thomas and I are doing a trip through Algonquin, a very small, very easy loop this year. Thomas, I'm sure, is quite excited about the very easy portion of it, and probably the small part too. We actually have to go all the way from Toronto to Killarney Outfitters to pick up our new canoe, which is the exciting part for me.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited about that too because it's, half the weight?
Yes, I think we're going to come in at 46 pounds or 48 pounds, whereas the other one was pushing 90 pounds. We have to go up there, pick it up, do the dance, get it loaded on, come all the way back down to Algonquin. Google Maps tells me it's 7.5 hours. Google Maps is lying for two reasons. One, there are going to be stops along the way. Mm-hmm. Hopefully this time we won't do Nuka cheeseburger because that was really gross last year. Oh my God.
I left one in the car over the trip. By the time we got back home, it looked exactly the same as it did before we even put it in the microwave.
Yeah.
And it tasted about as good as it looked.
That was just a preservative burger. And it was so gross. We didn't. Anyhow, there are going to be stops. And there's the highway that leads from the Killarney Road Highway. Off the top of my head, I'm blanking. Anyhow, it leads in from the main highway. And it leads past Killarney Park to the Outfitters is just a couple of minutes past it. I don't know, maybe 10 minutes past it. It was gravel and washboard and potholes, which they were endeavoring to repair last year. Nonetheless, that was a pretty close to an hour just along that. So Google Maps doesn't obviously know of that. The first part of the planning is we've got, realistically, we've got between 9 and 10 hours of just getting there. So this year we've planned to do a car camping, like our first night, even if we get up at crack of dawn, which not both of us are inclined to do.
It's okay, I know you're getting on in years.
I'm tired in the morning sometimes.
And grumpy, except that's not just a morning thing.
Or that I'm getting old. That's me, period. We're going to do a car camping because there's no way to get there after 9 or 10 hours of driving, which I'm going to be crippled, and then try to load up canoe through Canoe Lake, portage,
et cetera.
Find our site, which we're going to get whatever, because everything's so booked up, we'll get the crappiest site in that set of sites. It's not worth it. So
and by the time we're setting up, it'll be dark, headed towards dark, and
we'll be pushing midsummer, so sunset will be closer to 9 o'clock ish, 9:30 maybe. But there's trees that will make that happen sooner, because even if it hasn't gone over the horizon, it still is
behind
gone
the trees
as far as you can, you're shy in shadow. et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, it's about time. In a normal instance, we would normally try to leave early, make our stops as short as possible, get there, get on the water as quickly as possible, and boogie. And I tend to book our first night either on the first lake, like on our entrance access lake,
or not far from it.
one portage and into the second lake. That's generally how I try to do it, just to make things easier. When Thomas and I start setting up on our first day, this is an 8-day for us this year, which actually I think last year was an 8-day as well.
Yes, yeah.
Shorter the year before that. Our first night tends to be, we're not quite in sync yet, so you're looking at pretty close to 2 hours to get set up before we're actually sitting down making dinner.
By the end of the trip, that's generally halved?
So I would say an hour and a quarter maybe, and teardown's a little bit faster than that. Also depends on how long you've been there. If you've been there 2 days, your stuff's all spread out. It's supposed to be still all nice and neat.
And you've got all the stuff out rather than just the stuff you need.
That's very, very true. It's empty bags. So when we do finally get there, we usually divide and conquer. I will pull out the prep for dinner and have it standing by. We will look at numerous things. Weather's the big one. If we've got something rolling in, then we're running around.
And tarps are generally first. Yeah.
Tarp goes up first, so that we've got somewhere to hide out if weather is coming in, or if we haven't been paying attention because we've been on the water all day and not listening to. We've got a radio that picks up the Environment Canada broadcasts, so I tend to not listen to it on the water. We're paddling and stuff, and then we're lugging gear. Tarp goes up first, and then if it's possible, I'll move towards getting dinner happening to try to see if we can hit that 2-hour window with dinner going. Thomas moves on to the tent. He's extremely good at putting that puppy up now. Puts out the bags. We blow them up, although this year the pads are in a thermarest style. They're called self-inflating closed cell, I believe. Anyhow, you roll them out, you open up a valve on the side of it, and they slowly expand.
Emphasis on slowly.
Very slowly. Oh. And being an old crippled guy, I prefer to have a little bit of extra padding if I can get away with it. So we've been additionally blowing up our pads. Somebody posted something on one of the Facebook groups about finding black mold in their pad and wondering what the deal was. It turns out, and it makes perfect sense, it turns out that the moisture from your breath going in there and then not ever being expelled or dried out is a nice breeding ground. So we bought a mini pump, which I've already taken downstairs.
Absolutely tiny. It's
itty bitty. It's 3 or 4 ounces maybe. It and all its accoutrements are smaller than my fist, I would assume. It's got a rechargeable battery into it. We're taking power packs anyhow for all the cameras and other electronics that we take with us. And I know I feel bad about it too. So he'll blow up the pads.
Yep.
He'll put on throughout our sleeping bags, open them up to get them aired out, and our pillows. Usually pulls out. Then he starts prepping towards the table. While I'm hopefully by then, if I'm assuming I'm done with the tarp and whatnot, I'll be moving on to dinner. Whether it's firing up the pit itself, like an actual open fire, or if we've got the MSR pocket rocket, or our twig stove.
And then line for the barrel, the food barrel.
After that, although water first.
That's usually always get water filtering.
I missed that one. The very first thing we do is start water filtering before we move into anything else. Again, weather dependent.
Because that water filtering takes a while.
It's
very important to have safe drinking water.
And we've usually depleted our bottles by then, so we're pretty thirsty. And you need it for your rehydrating things. Not necessarily on the first night. We'll get to first night meals in a second. When you cook, you're rehydrating food 9 times out of 10, or 7 times out of 8 in our case. It's close. Plus, you're going to boil for washing dishes, whatever. In the morning, you're going to need water. You're going to be thirsty. Period. You're going to need water again in the morning for your whatever, whether it's rehydrating something again, or you're doing your oatmeal, whatever, and filling up your bottles again for your next day's trip. Because we tend to not do many rest days.
Yeah, we might have
to not do many rest days.
Yes, we tend to have one site where we'll have 2 days. On most trips, I think the most we've had is two
Yeah.
sites where we did 2 days.
Yeah.
But that was cool because that was the island site, and that was a super cool site to spend 2 days at.
That was an awesome site. Someday we'll go there again. That's potentially my favorite site ever. No, I'm not telling you where it is. Yeah, that probably covers most of it. Yeah, you do your bear hang.
Yep.
What is it? 15 feet up and 10 feet out.
Yes.
Whatever that works out to, 5-ish meters and 3-ish meters.
Yeah. And then I always want to go higher than the 15 feet up because then I can hang it down lower so we avoid raccoons. Oh, because those are no fun.
We've mentioned that before. We're into our current setup entirely because of raccoons. And what Thomas is actually getting at is he wants to go to a branch higher up so that he can hang farther below said branch. So they have to learn how to climb a rope down and up,
which they're not always inclined to do.
But I bet they will figure it out because they
Usually.
can figure out.
Because they're
figure out locking garbage
smart
cans in
butt
Toronto.
heads. Oh, I don't like raccoons. They're cute. I would like to punch one. And then he'd bite me, and then I'd get rabies, and then I'd be foaming at the mouth. Then
More than you do already.
Really,
Yeah.
there's your setup for first night. Thomas will while I'm doing dinner, he'll start pulling out our mess kit, the remainder of our mess kit, setting the table, pulling out whatever accoutrements we need.
Probably snacking on something.
Usually snacking on something, but that's pretty much the whole time. We burn a lot of calories in the backcountry. Even I eat all the time. Our first night's meal is one of the best things in the world. Because we don't have to really worry about, especially we froze it beforehand. It's been thawing out all day, in theory, assuming we're driving and whatnot. So we take like
bakes and
potatoes and fresh vegetables.
I think we've done lobster.
Not backcountry. I don't think.
No, we've done it.
We do when we camp.
Car camping, yeah. We should do lobster sometime, backcountry.
We could do that. We could we could take shrimps or something like that. I told you
we could do
the menu, man.
Yeah.
Just saying. So we tend to, again, weather permitting, we tend to do a full up fire in the pit and some kind of a grate because people tend to leave their grates behind. It makes me sad. Whatever. I don't care. I would dangle them on rocks.
Yep.
It's so they're better. They're cooked over an open, a real honest.
Yeah, having
fire.
real flame grilled steaks that are fresh, and you're out in the middle of nowhere. It's quiet, and it's great.
Well, and according to Survivor man Les Stroud, when you're really hungry, even eating a grub tastes good.
I'm sure it would.
That's just so gross.
Well,
I'm sure
don't knock it till you've tried it.
I'm sure we have.
At least we're not Bear Grillsing our drinks.
We're not wedding?
Bear Grylls.
We don't. Do we want to know about Bear Grylls in your drinks?
I don't even
Probably
know.
not.
What that
Survival situations, he suggests drink your own pee.
is. Oh,
No.
okay.
Hey, if there's nothing else to drink.
Wow, this is going sideways quickly.
Anyways.
And on that note, I think that pretty much covers your first day night of backcountry. You paddle a bunch. Hopefully, you have a not particularly long portage, and then you find your site. Theoretically, you're not. I'm not sure if it's exact same time. I think it might be 2:00 is the time for the switch over in the backcountry as well. 2 p.m. You should be able to take your site at that point, and you should be. I think maybe they're supposed to be off by noon, but it might be 2 p.m. It's a pretty easy switch anyhow. To be searching before 2 p.m. for your site, have it pegged. If somebody's on it, be waiting to see if they're bailing out and have a backup site. Because it takes a while to paddle around the lake. I suppose I should mention, unlike car camping, backcountry camping in a canoe, except Kawartha is you choose a site when you book it.
Most other places are you book the lake.
You book the lake, exactly.
And pray that a good site is open.
Right. And Ontario Parks is theoretically smart enough to only book as many people as there are sites. And I think there's actually supposed to be a
emergency site.
Yeah, exactly. For if you get weather or you're in over your head or there's an injury or what have you. And that's a conversation we'll have at a later date about letting people in on your sites or finding too many people on a lake and wondering how that plays out. It's something that came up in a post recently on Facebook that gave me some pause for thought.
That's it for us for today. Thanks for listening. We'll be back soon, and please do connect with us on all of the social media. We are on Instagram, we're on Facebook. We have a public Facebook group called The Campfire. We'd love to meet up with you there, and please do email us. Our email address is hi@supergoodcamping.com. That's hi@supergoodcamping.com. Again, I'm Pamela.
I'm Thomas.
I'm still Tim.
And we're from supergoodcamping.com. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.